Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Nick, your favorite personal growth coach, and I am excited to be with you here again on another Wednesday session of Adulting in My Purpose. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful evening. I know it's raining here. I hear the thunder and the lightning going, so it's one of those evenings. But we are here to grow, to learn, and talk about this thing called adulting. So, if you're watching for the first time, if you're out there, say hello. Let me know you're watching. Give me some likes, some shares, start some watch parties. I'm about to do the same thing. So, this whole adulting in my purpose, is focused on providing personal growth tips and strategies for millennials. It's a way that I decided when we started this quarantine life, uh, when I business started pivoting, and I just wanted to do something to add value, and it was laid on my heart to speak into the lives of our young people and our young millennials, because I know many of them are in the position where you're trying to get this adult thing going on and you're struggling already, you were stuck, and then wow, you're hit with the pandemic and now you have to deal with that, and it's hard. And a lot of times when you're in your 20s and in your early 30s, things can get so difficult, get so overwhelmed, and you feel that you're stuck, you feel that you are not progressing as fast or the way that you want to, and life can be challenging. But so this adulting in my purpose, the purpose of it is to give you some tools and some strategies for life, really. And personal growth and development is such a key part of success and key part of life. And that's something that we a lot of times don't invest our time in, invest our money in, because we don't see it as a priority. But I know that in my life and my journey, it wasn't until I understood the critical value of personal growth and development, and how key that was to my success, how key that was into discovering who I am, discovering my strengths, discovering my weakness, becoming more self-aware of myself, and truly understanding my purpose. And that is when I kind of just evolved into this personal growth coach and everything personal growth. And it has truly become a lifestyle. So I am, for those that are watching for the first time that don't know who I am Dr. Nicole Rankin. I'm the CEO of the Cole Academy of Personal Growth. And what we do, we provide leadership development, personal growth, and communication training to students, and not only students, but the leaders that serve them. So we are able to help leaders become better leaders of others, but most importantly, better leaders of themselves through personal growth and development. So, this adulting in my purpose stemmed from the journal that I released earlier this year called Adulting in My Purpose. And Adulting in My Purpose, it's a journal of several personal growth journeys to help millennials navigate a complex world. And through that journey, with that journal, you're able to go through different phases of self-discovery to kind of know more about yourself. And the idea is that as you know more about yourself, then you're able to kind of put together a plan for your life that you can truly hone in on, get focused, and truly be intentional about the things that you desire in life. So I want to make sure that I am starting my watch party on my personal page as well. So we have been doing this adulting in my purpose sessions probably since April, I believe. So it has been an amazing opportunity where we have talked about so many aspects of adulting with giftedness, adulting with clarity, making sure you have the clarity that you need to move forward, making sure adulting with ownership, making sure that the dreams that you have are your dreams and you're not living for your parents, you're not living for what society says you should do or should have, but you're truly honing into what God has placed inside of you. So today we kind of shifted a couple of weeks ago. We kind of shifted because we started June 1st, July 1st, and that was the start of the half of 2020. And when I was thinking about, what these sessions will be like the latter half of 2020, we know we have been hit with so much that's going on in the world between COVID, between the racial unrest, the inequalities, injustices that we're seeing in the world, the hatred, all of the things that are rearing its ugly head that we're having to deal with now in the first part of 2020. So it was like, I don't know about you, but I can imagine the going into the new year and it turning out like this. But we have to adjust, we have to adapt. We've been surprised where we're continually have to adjust. There's a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty. So there is a lot of shifting that is happening. But now we have the half at the half mark, right? We have the rest of the year to finish out strong. So I want to kind of shift thoughts and how do we make that happen? How do we ensure that we position ourselves to finish out 2020 stronger than we were, better than we were, in a better position to go into 2021 with better insight, being better people, truly understanding what it is that we want and we're called to do. So that is where we're shifting for the latter half. So we've been talking about write your best story and how the chapters that you have in your life have yet to be written. So there's so much that you can do, so much you can have, so much you can be, but you got to get focused and you have to be intentional in doing that. So today I want to talk and shift to discussion on adulting with good decisions. Adulting with good decisions. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Questions number one is, how would you describe your life right now? Take a look, think about it. How would you describe your life? Are you achieving your desires? Are you accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish? Where are you in life? So if I were to say, I'm going to come to your house and we're going to spend a day, we're going to spend a day and I'm going to observe you in your 24-hour period of what you do, would I be able to see traces of the success that you desire to have? I'll ask you that again. If I were to come to your house and say, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to observe you for 24 hours, would I be able to see traces of the success you desire to have in the future? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about adulting with good decisions, because the secret of your success is in your daily agenda. What disciplines that you have, what are the habits that you're doing every single day that are in alignment with where you're desiring to go. So if you make a few key decisions and manage them well along the way, you are bound to succeed. So you have to understand what you become is truly a result of the decisions that you make. My mentor always said, where you are is due to your best thinking, right? So we make decisions, and I say that every decision has a consequence, good, bad, or ugly, but decisions have a consequence. So we have to understand the results that we have in life is a result of our decision making. So there's a story that I like when I think about an old ant and a grasshopper. So during the summer months, you have the ant who is truly working hard, grinding, preparing, constantly working, gathering food, doing the things that they need to do to prepare for life, while the grasshopper is just out having his best time, living his best life for the summer, doing his thing. But then when the winter comes, the ant buries in a hole and they're good to go. They're living the life because they have prepared themselves for the future. But the ant and the grasshopper in the winter months, they starve because it's too cold and they didn't prepare. And such is life. A lot of times especially when you're younger, you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, I have time. I hear that. Oh, I have time. I can live my life. I can do what I want to do. I can live my best life. But I have time to get my life together. I have time. But if you're living a life of intentionality, if you're living a life where you truly have goals and you truly have dreams that you want to attain, you have to kind of think about, how are you preparing today for what you want for tomorrow? How are you preparing yourself today for what you want tomorrow? So you can pay now and play later, or you can play now and pay later. But either way, you're going to have to pay. Either way it goes. So the idea that is, there has to be some sort of kind of like balance, where you are truly preparing for your future, but truly also being present in the moment, because you want to live your life and you want to enjoy life and don't always want to be a grind, but you have to be forward thinking and be intentional. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, preparedness of the heart. A man in his heart, a man plans his steps. He's prepared, but it's God's who ordered them. So there is a something to preparation in our life that is going to help us get to those dreams, get to those desires, get to the place where we are truly adulting in our purpose. You see, most people don't lead their life. They truly just accept it. They leave this kind of passive approach to life where they're really being reactive versus proactive. And so, but life is not a dress rehearsal. We only have one, right? YOLO. We can say that it's cliche, but it's so true. And we see that now happening, that many are losing their lives younger and younger each day. We don't know when that will happen, when our end will be, but we know it's going to come. So living your life with intention, living your life with purpose, and preparing yourself for the future and the dreams that you want is critical, rather than living a life of reactiveness. And because if you're living a life of reactiveness, not living your life with being proactive, not preparing, you're always going to be looking at the past. You're always going to be looking backwards. You're constantly going to be repairing things, and it's going to halt your future. But on the opposite side, that if you live a life where you're proactive, you're focusing on being prepared. You're focusing on being forward minded. You're focusing on becoming more efficient, being intentional, being confident in your life. So the thing about you want to ask yourself is, what type of life do you want to have for yourself? What type of life do you want to have for yourself? When you're thinking about where you are in life, again, we are at the halfway mark we are in the halfway mark of 2020, right? We still have time in the year. We still have time to shift. We still have time to refocus. We still have time to redirect our thoughts and change our habits, so we can come out better than where we are or where we were in the beginning of 2020. But it's all going to be based on the decisions that we make. So that's why we're talking about adulting with good decisions. So I know that when you're young, I talk to many millennials and many young people, and decision making is something that is very difficult for many, because you're uncertain. You have a sense of uncertainty. You don't know whether you're making the right decisions, and sometimes, often, that you don't know that you're making the right decision, so you don't make any decision. And if you don't make any decision, making no decision is a decision. So how do we do it? How do we adult with good decisions? How do we think about uh what things do we think about when we're making a good decision? So these are the things that we're going to talk about. There's a story of 5 men that got lost in the forest. So the 5 men got lost in the forest and they tried to find their way out. So the first man said, I'm going to go left because I feel that I'm supposed to go left. The second one said, well, I'm going to go right. The third one said, you know what? I'm just going to keep walking ahead. And the fourth one said, you know what? I'm going to go back the way we came and see if I can figure it out. But the fifth one took a minute and said, well, I don't know what to do. So I'm going to take time and think. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to climb up to this tree and see what I can see. So the fifth man climbed up to the tree and surveyed the land and found the shortest route out of the forest. Well, man number 1 who went left, he found a path, but it was the longest path out, and it took him days to come out of the forest. Man number 2 who went right ran into a pack of wolves and had to fight off the wolves. Man number 3 who decided to go straight ahead met some hikers, started to have a friendly conversation, and got off course, got distracted. Man number 4, who went backwards, found a farm hosted by a family and had dinner and stayed with the family a few days before going out. You see, every decision that we make has consequences. Every decision that we make, there is a result. There is an outcome for the decision. So making decisions a day, you want to make the best decision that you can. And again, a lot of times it's a risk. It's a time to say that you're going to step out on faith and you're going to make a decision, and you may not know the outcome, but there are systems that you can think about, strategies that you can use to make the best decision. Just like all of the men made a decision and there was an outcome, and each consequence had a different result. You know, if you go the long path, it's fine if you're taking the long path, but is there a shorter route? Could there be a better decision? The other one had to fight off wolves, so now you're faced with obstacles and struggles. So sometimes decision making will lead you in that path where you have to do that and face obstacles and overcome obstacles. Sometimes you go make a decision and you get into a group or find people that gets you distracted and takes you off course. So you have to understand how do you make critical decisions? How can you be effective in your decision making? And it takes an idea that you have to think about areas in your life and what are your core decisions going to be in those areas. And once you make those core decisions, then the idea is that you just manage yourself every single day according to that decision. So everything that you do is in alignment with those decisions that you make. So for example, so let's say that you have an innate sense to gamble. Right? You're gambling and you losing your money left and right. And then you make a decision one day that you are going to stop gambling. So if that is your decision, then that is your resolve. So every day you're doing what you need to do, the disciplines that's going to match that decision. So you're going to, avoid the racetrack or any other gambling places. Maybe you're not going to take a trip to Vegas. Maybe you're going to decline that poker game with your friends. So these are decisions that you make that are aligned with that core decision that you made for yourself that you're going to stop gambling. So that does that make sense? So when you're thinking about decision making, it's about getting those core beliefs and making the decision early, and then manifesting the things that you do daily and having the right discipline to support the decisions that you make. You see, most successful people in life, they're the ones that settle on their critical issues early. Right? They decide what it is that they want, what it is that they're going to put up with, what it is that they're going to decide to do, how are they going to live their life. And then all they do is manage themselves daily. So we're thinking about, if we're wanting to finish out 2020 strong, truly be in a position where we're adulting in our purpose, we got to manage and think about the decisions that we're making. So the decision making can be a hard part of life. Growing up, there's so much things that you have to decide. So I'm going to give you some homework. I'm always the homework queen. I haven't given out homework in a couple of weeks. So this is going to be your homework. I'm going to give you a list of areas in your life. And what I want you to do is, I truly want you to take time and think through these critical areas and make a decision of what you want your life to be in these areas, and what you want them to look like. Right? So the first area is attitude. What type of attitude do you want to have in life? Make that decision. What type of attitude do you have in life? The second is priorities. How are you going to determine what's important to you? What priorities are you going to focus on? Make that decision. Number 3, your health. What healthy ideas or guidelines are you going to do daily to ensure that you have a healthy lifestyle? Family. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to care for your family? What are your relationships going to be with your family? Thinking, big one. The process of and practice of good thinking daily. What decisions? How are you going to think? How much time are you going to get to give yourself for thinking? Communication. How are you going to have proper communication? Finances. What do you want your finance to be? Make a decision early. Sit down, think about what it is that you want your finances to look like, right? So now you resolve if you want a certain amount, or if you want your credit to look a certain way. Now you're going to think about the daily habits that you need to manifest that decision, right? So finance is number 7. 8 is faith. How are you going to deepen your spiritual walk? How are you going to deepen your faith? How are you going to truly tap into the spiritual realm and grow spiritually? Number 9 is relationships. How are you investing in what type of relationships are you investing in? Are you wanting just healthy relationships? So if you want healthy relationships, make that resolve, make that decision. So then when you're faced with a situation that is counterintuitive of what you want, you're able to make that decision for yourself and say, no, this relationship is not for me. I have to let it go because it's not in alignment with the decision that I have made in my life. So relationships, your generosity, how are you going to give? I always say that we are supposed to be rivers. God has given us the ability to have gifts and talents that flow through us for other people. So how are you going to manifest your generosity and your giving? Also, your values. What are your values? What are your core values? What are your belief systems? Make a decision about these things in your life and your growth. How are you going to grow? How are you going to continue, as I said, to raise that lid, to raise your potential? What are you going to do to invest in yourself? What are you going to do to grow yourself? What are the things that you're going to read? What are the things you're going to listen to? What are the things you're going to study? So these are 12 areas of your life that I truly want you, this is going to be your homework, right? To truly want you to sit down and make these decisions early of what you want this to look like in your life. So we have attitude, priorities, health, family, thinking, commitment, finances, faith, relationship, generosity, values, and growth. Okay, so that is going to be your homework, because when you start to make those decisions in these areas, what you will find is that as you're going and growing through life, you're going to be faced with many decisions, right? So many of those decisions, if you go to the core, will relate back to these core 12 areas of your life, right? So that the idea is that you are thinking about the core values, and then you're making the decisions in your life to align with the things that you believe. So I remember one of the major decisions that I had to make in my life is what was my transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And let me tell you, that was one of the major decisions that I had to make in my life, uh, because there were so many factors and so many variables that were a part of that. I truly had to think about that, and I had to rely on these core values and core areas of my life that I just listed. So the things that I'm telling you to do is not just theory. It's not just something I just pull out the air. These things that I actually had to implement in my life. So when I was making the decision, I had to ask myself, what are my priorities in life? Here I was at a point of a crossroad where I knew that I wasn't operating in my gifting. I knew I wasn't living in my purpose. I wasn't happy. I had a bad attitude. I knew there was more for me to do being had, and the finances that I desire, it wasn't going to manifest to where I was. So there were so many things that came to that decision. I had to just look back at my list. So when it came time for me to make that decision, do I stay or do I go? That decision became easy, because I had to take the emotions out of it and rely on my faith and rely on the values and rely on, my priorities and the attitudes that I decided that I wanted to have for my life. And once I relied on that, I was able to make that decision and take that risk. So it's the same thing that as you're going through life, as you're faced with decisions, as you're faced with things that you have to make choices of in life, having those core decisions already in place will allow you to just manage your behaviors and manage yourself every day with the discipline that you need to align with the decisions that you made. So that is your homework. That is your call to action. I truly, truly want you to take time and think about those 12 areas of your life and decide what it is that you want. What do you really, really, really want in those areas? And what do you want what do you want those areas to look like for you in your life? And then write them down, write the vision, make it plain, write it down. And then once you do that, then you'll see that as you go, and as you are faced with decisions in your life, you refer back to that. So now you're not making hasty decisions. Now you're not making decisions based on emotions. Now you're not making decisions based on just circumstances. Your decisions are grounded in who you are, who you were created to be, the values, the things that you believe in, right? And that's how we need to do to be effective in our decision making. So truly, I encourage you to take that time and to do that homework. So what I want to do quickly in the last times that we have is to go over just kind of 7 steps to effective decision making. So just to give you some tools and some tips, to give you something to think about, to help you in that process of decision making, and how best to make that transition when you're thinking about things, when you're thinking about your life decisions, whether what job to get, what career to think about, what type of relationship to go in, who to be in a relationship with, so all of these things, it can be applicable to so many areas of your life. So step number 1, and so I have 7. So step number 1 is, you want to identify the decision. And what I mean by that, so let's say that you're faced with a decision to make. Let's say that you are faced with a career or a job. You have an opportunity to take a job or 2 jobs. You're making a decision between 2 jobs. And so you want to go back and identify the core decisions. So you're going to go back to your list. You're going to go back to that 12 areas and identify which areas relate to that decision. So if I'm thinking about choosing between two jobs. That may be relate to my priorities. That may relate, of course, that relates to my finances. That relates to my values. Which job aligns with the values. When it finances, which job allows me to obtain the finance goals that I'm looking. Which jobs allows me to have the priorities in my life that I need. So you identify the core decision that other decision relates to. So that's step number one. You want to identify that decision. Then two, you want to gather information. And what you want to ask yourself is, you know, gather the facts. So before you make decisions, you never want to make long-term decisions on temporary circumstances or temporary emotions. That's the worst thing that you can do. So you never make long-term decisions based on emotions or temporary circumstances. So you truly want to be systematic. You truly want to be intentional in your decision making. Truly, if you want to have a significant life, if you're truly going after your dreams and manifesting your daily habits and preparing yourself every day for your future. So you gather information, gather up the facts. Think about your past. Had you had to make this decision in the past before? If you did, what decision did you make? How did that turn out? What is your belief system? How does it align with the beliefs? If I'm a woman of faith, so I'm going to pray about it. What does God say? What is the Spirit telling me? What does the Word say? If there's an example in the Word that I can use as a guide to help me make that decision? What facts? Do you have a trusted confidant that you can share, that you can talk to get feedback and ideas? So gather information, all the information that you need, be it internal and external, to help you. So that's step number two. You want to gather information. Number three, you want to identify the alternative. What are your options? Think about what your options are. So let's say that I am in a situation and somebody done pissed me off, and I have to make a decision. Am I gonna go for the throat? I'm gonna punch them in the face, or am I gonna walk away? So I'm gonna think about that before making a rash decision and just hauling and doing something that I regret. I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna go back to my list. I'm gonna think about, is this indicative of the attitude that I want to have? Is this indicative of the value that I have? Is this the type of faith that I have? Is this a person that I want to be? Is this the thinking that I want to have? And what are my alternatives? I can just walk away. I can just smile. I can just shake it off, brush it off, and keep it moving. So I'm analyzing what are some of the alternatives to this problem or to this decision that I can make. So you want to identify what your options, identify your alternatives. Okay. So one, identify the decision. How does it line with the 12? Gather information is number two. Identify alternatives is number three. And then you want to weigh your options, right? You want to weigh your evidence. Think about, okay, you have your pros and your cons. Would this be a good idea if I do it this way? Would this be, what would be the negative consequences? What would be the positive consequences? Is there any consequence at all? Or what would happen? So you're weighing your evidence. You're just not jumping in based on emotions, based on in the heat of the moment. You're taking it and truly, weighing your options, doing your pros and cons, thinking about, okay, what is the Spirit saying? How does this align with my values? And then that's when you make the decision, right? When you get all the way to step number 5, choose amongst the decisions that you have. That's when you make the decision. All the way at number 5, not at number 1. See, this is where we're talking about systems and strategies that you can put in place to help you in your life, where you're truly being intentional as you're going out for your dreams, as you're thinking about and living the life, because you want your true life to be in alignment with the dreams and the things that you want. So that's when you make a decision in step number 5. That's where you choose. Next is take action. Number 6 is take action. And what do I mean by take action? That's where we talked about the disciplines that you have every day. So now you made a decision. Now you're you're going to be disciplined every single day to make sure you're doing the things that you need to do that are in alignment with where you're needing to go. So you take action, right? And identify the disciplines that you need. Learn, what disciplines do I need to truly manage myself for the decision that I've made. And then the last step is review your decision. You always want to evaluate. Let's look back at the decision that I made. How effective was it? What were the outcomes? Was that a good decision? Was that a bad decision? How could I have made a better decision? What rooms for improvements if I'm to happen to experience this the next time? So these are some steps that you can truly take to help you in your decision making, because if you're truly going after your dreams, if you're truly just making a decision to adult in my purpose, you want to finish out 2020 strong. You want to finish out better than you have. You're in a place where it's the unknown and you're faced with a lot of decisions. You want to be intentional. So you position yourself, right, for the road and the journey that you need to be on in order to manifest the dreams that you desire. There's a quote that I like by John Wooden that says, "Success is peace of mind, which is direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did the best to become the best you are capable of becoming." And that's all that matters. That's all that is required of you. God just wants you to do your best, one decision at a time. We have choices. The good book says that everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So we have permissive will and we have choices that we can make in our lives. But as young people, you have to decide that you have to be forward thinkers, because you can, say that, oh, I have time, and have that mentality of thinking that you have time and not take the appropriate preparations and make the appropriate decisions now, that when you get into your 40s, when you get into your 50s, when you get into your 60s, you're not asking yourself, wow, what did I do with my life? And why am I not where I want to be? And how could I be further along than I wanted to be? So now in your 20s, now in your 30s, this is the time where you prepare for that future. Yes, it's great to play. It's great to enjoy life, because life is for living. God's called us to live that abundant life. But you truly be successful, and to truly manifest those dreams, you have to be intentional. You have to understand that each day matters. Each day counts. Right? You don't want to just disregard a day that and have a day pass that you're truly not preparing for what it is that you're desiring to go. So those are the 7 effective strategies to decision making. You have your homework, you have your marching orders for this session to truly go over those 12 areas that we talked about, and make that resolve and decide what you want that to be in your life. So as you are moving forward, as you are making your decisions in other areas, you have that standard, you have that core that you can relate to and compare to, asking about your attitude, your priorities, your health, your family, your thinking, your commitment, your finances, and are those aligned with where you want it to go? So that's what I have for you today, is adulting with good decisions, knowing that your success is going to be determined by your daily agenda. So what you do every day, it's going to be, you have the good decisions, got to be backed up by good discipline. Good decisions, good discipline. So make a decision and then develop the habits and develop the discipline that aligns with those decisions for you to get from where you are to where you want to be. So I hope that something that was said tonight will be helpful, that you are going to be mindful to do your homework. Like I said, this is all about action, giving you things, giving you tools that you can use to up level your thinking, to give to help you to think outside the box, to truly make yourself successful and position yourself for success in achieving your dreams as young people. Because like I said, you don't have to repeat a lot of the challenges and the roadblocks that myself and other fellow Gen Xers and baby boomers and beyond have challenged. You can do this now. You can make the changes that you need for your life and truly see a difference in life and create the life that you desire to live, because that's what God has had for us. He wants us to live that abundant life that He has created for us, using our talents, using our gifts to truly live in our purpose and our calling. So I hope something that was said will help you in your life. Take it to heart. A few announcements. We are excited. We are excited. We are excited. Our first cohort of Kenyan youth will start tomorrow. They are going through the Adulting in My Purpose course. So we are excited about that. Adulting in My Purpose is now global. We are international, baby. This is wonderful. God is truly amazing. So we're looking for a wonderful time. With that group of students, I believe we have like 36 going through the cohort of Adulting in My Purpose. So it's just going to be an amazing time. And we're just praying that God truly shows up and manifests Himself in the lives of those young people all the way in Kenya. So that starts tomorrow. So that's exciting. We have our Adulting in My Purpose course. That registration is going to open, and that course is going to start in August. So look out for that. So those young people, if you're truly wanting to up level your life, truly wanting to go to another level, but needing that guidance, needing that support, we're going to have coaching, Q&A, taking you through the course. So look out for that. That's for you. And then also, last but not least, if you have not, Adulting in My Purpose is available on Amazon.com. So get your journal. Get a copy of your journal. Go through it. Take time to answer the questions. You also have a bonus website. So there's so much tools and strategies that's available for you to truly live your life on purpose and truly live the life that God has called you to be, and truly be adulting in my purpose. So we will see you again next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here, Facebook Live. You all be blessed, live on purpose, and know that you can be adulting in your purpose. Have a good night. Be blessed, everyone.